The Galactic Council's emergency session had been called with unprecedented urgency. Representatives from 12 star systems sat in stunned silence as the evidence scrolled across their neural interfaces. Ambassador Szeth Kari of the Vorthon Empire, his crystalline features reflecting the harsh light of the chamber, finally broke the silence that had stretched for nearly a standard hour. "This cannot be accurate," he whispered, his translator struggling with the emotional undertones of his native tongue. The humans. They're barely past their first century of spaceflight. High Inquisitor Mexdala, her serpentine form coiled around the hovering discussion platform, accessed the data streams once more. The information remained unchanged, as damning as it had been when their deep space archaeological teams first uncovered it. "I'm afraid the quantum dating is irrefutable. These observation posts predate our oldest civilizations by millions of years. The revelation had started 3 months ago, when a routine mining operation in the Kepler 442 system had uncovered structures that defied explanation. Massive orbital installations, clearly artificial but constructed with materials that shouldn't exist according to known physics. More disturbing still was their purpose. They were observation platforms, designed to monitor and record everything, happening across multiple star systems simultaneously. Dr. Sarah Chen, the lone human representative at the Emergency Council, sat quietly at the edge of the assembly. Her presence had been grudgingly accepted only because Earth had recently achieved the minimum technological threshold for galactic recognition. Now, as alien eyes turned toward her with a mixture of suspicion and dawning horror, she understood why her government had insisted she attend. "The quantum signatures match," continued Mexdala, her voice carrying the weight of civilization's worth of assumptions crumbling. "Every installation we found bears the same energy patterns we detect in human neural activity, more specifically in human observational consciousness." Commander Vexthor of the Andorian Federation leaned forward, his forearms gesticulating in agitation. "You're suggesting that these primitives have been watching us for millions of years? While we developed warp drives, quantum computers, dimensional transcendence technology?" "Not suggesting." Dr. Chen spoke for the first time, her voice calm but carrying an undertone that made several representatives shift uncomfortably. "Confirming." The chamber erupted in a cacophony of translated protests and denials. Dr. Chen waited patiently, her hands folded in her lap until the noise subsided. When she spoke again, her words carried the weight of eons. "We've always been here, not as you see us now, of course. Consciousness doesn't require the same vessel across deep time. But yes, we've been watching, learning, sometimes guiding when necessary." Ambassador Szeth Kari's crystalline form flickered with indignation. "Impossible! Our archaeologists have traced the development of every major civilization. Your species only achieved sentience 12,000 years ago at most." Dr. Chen smiled, an expression that somehow seemed ancient despite her youthful appearance. "You've traced the development of your current iterations. But tell me, Ambassador, have you ever wondered why every spacefaring species in this galaxy developed along remarkably similar technological pathways? Why your societies, despite evolving on completely different worlds, share so many fundamental concepts?" The silence that followed was deafening. "The observation posts weren't just for watching," she continued. "They were influence nodes. Gentle, nudges in the right directions. A mathematical concept here, a technological breakthrough there. Just enough to ensure that when the time came for contact, you would be compatible." High Inquisitor Mexdala's serpentine form went rigid. "You're claiming your species guided our evolution? Not your biological evolution. Your consciousness developed naturally, as did ours, eons ago. But your civilizational development, your technologies, your philosophical frameworks?" Dr. Chen shrugged with devastating casualness. Let's just say we've been very patient teachers. Commander Vexthor stood abruptly, his four fists clenched. Even if this were true, why reveal it now? Why end the deception? For the first time, Dr. Chen's expression grew serious. Because the real test is beginning. We've watched, we've guided, we've waited. But now something's coming. Something we can't handle alone, despite all our experience and knowledge. The galaxy will need every conscious species working together if we're going to survive what's heading our way. What's coming? Ambassador Zethkari asked, though his voice suggested he wasn't sure he wanted to know. Dr. Chen activated her own holographic display, showing sensor readings that made several council members recoil. The data depicted something vast approaching from outside the galaxy, something that defied every law of physics they understood. They're called the Devourers. We've encountered them before, in other galaxies. It's why we spread our consciousness. Here in the first place, why we've spent millions of years preparing you, nurturing your development. They consume not just matter and energy, but conscious thought itself. The weight of revelation settled over the chamber like a shroud. The beings they had considered primitive newcomers were their ancient guardians, the watchers who had observed civilizations rise and fall, who had gently guided the development of an entire galaxy's worth of thinking species. The observation posts you found, Dr. Chen continued, they're not just archaeological artifacts. They're still active, still watching. Because in 3 years when the Devourers arrive, we're going to need every advantage we can get. She stood slowly, her movements carrying the dignity of deep time. The question now isn't whether you can trust us. It's whether you're ready to fight alongside the species that's been protecting you since before your stars were born. As the implications sank in, the Galactic Council realized that humanity's application for membership hadn't been a request. It had been a recruitment notice.